Well, history was made tonight in the collectible space as the Shohei Ohtani 50th home run ball has broken the all-time record for the most spent for a home run ball, surpassing the Mark McGwire $3 million baseball home run number 70 from the 98 season, bought in 1999 by Spawn creator Todd McFarlane. Darren Rovell with Collect, and I am joined by Collect's Will Stern to talk about this historic record. You know what, Will? I felt like someone said to me early on, well, it's not the base, so it's only half of the 50-50. And then I said, yeah, that's a good point, but it was part of, arguably, the most historic single greatest game ever. And that connection means so much. How much do you think the game that he played against the Marlins when he had 10 RBIs, went 6 for 6, had 3 home runs, how much do you think the game itself and it being tied to that game matters here?
I mean, as much as the 50-50 season would have been historic and everyone was ready for it to be historic and excited for it to happen the way it did and the excitement around it, that just supercharged the whole thing and it became a frenzy, right? And it became a news story unto itself. And I think that really played a huge role because, again, like you said, it's probably the greatest offensive game ever played, taking out postseason or World Series performances.
Right, and in that case, it involves the game itself and the stakes. This game had no stakes. It was a regular season game, and it was against the Marlins. I also think the timing has something to do here. Let's tell you that it was 110 days from the day that Mark McGwire hit home run 70 to when it was sold in 1999. This is day 33 since Ohtani hit 50. I think the fact that it is so close, a quick turnaround in auction world terms, and the fact that Ohtani has continued to crush, being almost illegal with runners in scoring position, bringing it up to the World Series. I think the timing here is so good. And you know what? As you know, sometimes it's not about the item, it's about its position in time. And I think with this case, the position in time really made this the record breaker.
It couldn't be more perfect. Like you said, it's the quick turnaround is always optimal, right, for something like this. But the fact that during that quick turnaround, he gets to the World Series, right? That's unbelievable. And then think about Shohei Ohtani as, I mean, look, Mike Trout was supposed to be the figurehead of the MLB, right? That didn't really happen. He wasn't media friendly, whatever.
Bryce
Shohei
Harper as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Shohei Ohtani has this amazing international appeal, obviously, as a Japanese born player. And look, we've seen, you know, insane tourism increase from Japanese visitors to LA. There's a CNN report that says that something between 80 and 90% of visitors from Japan to LA go to Dodger Stadium at least once during their stay. And lastly, we've seen multiple times during bidding at Golden, one of these bids comes in around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Eastern. Guess what? That's midday in Japan. So it seems like there's some international interest that drove this record price as well.
And we must say that there is credit to be given to Ken Golden, who had himself a legal battle on his hands, right? There are now 3 people who claim they have the ball. He was able to settle it up, at least for the time being, halt the courts and say, guys, worry about splitting the money. Don't worry about the ball going to auction. And again, the timing here, you just look at the home run ball number 73 from Bonds, which took as long as it did. And all of a sudden, the guys split it like Solomon, but it was only, 225,000 at that point. So I think there's definitely credit to Ken Golden for that. I also think, it's been 25 years since that $3 million ball. And I remember, covering it at the ESPN zone and everything that was going on there. And it was just a different time. Should the person who won this ball tonight decide to come out, I think it's worth tens and tens of millions of dollars worth of publicity, so much more so than it was 25 years ago with the age of social media.
That's without saying. I mean, it's the most viral thing in sports collectibles and one of the biggest stories in sports, period, right?
So you're definitely buying into that tonight. And I think you're buying also into Otani's future. Now, I'm going to ask you one last question, which is someone said, I bet Golden wishes that this was after the World Series. Or, I think actually the Tuesday heading into the World Series where the first game is Friday.
Yeah.
I think this is the absolute perfect timing. It is at the heat of the heat, and they couldn't nail it any better, even if Otani's the MVP and the Dodgers win it all.
When you're playing the slot machines, you get the dopamine right before it hits, right? Not after they win or lose. You don't want to wait for anything to play out. Right now, it's all potential with the World Series. It's a perfect time.
Darren Ravel with Will Stern, and make sure you check out collect.com for more on the Otani 50th home run record breaking ball.